Welcome back to The Explainer. We are living through what is arguably one of the most massive macroeconomic and technological shifts in modern history. The literal ground is moving beneath our feet, and it's all being driven by these wild shifts in the labor market and, of course, the absolute explosion of AI. So let's jump right in and unpack how these forces are totally rewiring the world of work from the ground up.
Right now, there's this huge debate happening everywhere, from boardrooms to break rooms. The big question, is AI actually replacing jobs, or is it just changing how we hire for them? Now, I know it's super easy to get caught up in those futuristic, slightly terrifying headlines about robots taking our jobs, but when you look at the actual data, the hard numbers from economists and platforms that process literally millions of jobs, a completely different, honestly much more fascinating story emerges. We're not seeing a mass deletion of human work. No, what we're actually seeing is a profound evolution in what employers want and exactly how they're going out and finding it.
To get the full picture, we're going to take a macro to micro journey today. We'll start broadly with the shifting labor market, then look at how AI is moving way beyond just tech roles. After that, we'll dive into the new recruiting toolkit, the shift towards skills over degrees, and finally, how top companies are adapting to the future right now.
All right, Section 1, the shifting labor market. Let's look at the current reality.
Okay, so before we talk about the future, we really got to ground ourselves in the present. And the current economic reality, well, it's pretty full of contradictions. Take a look at this data from the Indeed Hiring Lab. Get this. As of June 2026, nearly 16% of active job seekers are already working multiple jobs. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. We're not just looking at unemployed folks searching for work. We are looking at this incredibly active, hustling workforce, where a massive chunk of candidates are juggling two, sometimes more roles, while still looking for that next big opportunity. It totally changes the game on how we think about candidate availability and the sheer economic pressure driving people to look for new gigs.
And that leads us to this really strange economic paradox. On one hand, overall job gains look super strong. Employment is up, which sounds great, right? But on the other hand, actual hiring momentum, the rate of new job openings and really aggressive recruiting, that's staying relatively weak. So what's actually going on here? Basically, the churn has slowed down. People are staying put in their current jobs, and companies, well, they're being incredibly strategic, honestly kind of picky about the new headcount they actually do open up. The market is tight, but the hiring itself is hyper-focused. Moving on to Section 2, AI beyond tech roles, let's talk about this massive cross-industry shift. So, if companies are being hyper-focused about who they bring on board, what exactly are they looking for? Increasingly, the answer is artificial intelligence. When most of us hear AI jobs, we instantly picture a software engineer in Silicon Valley, right? Well, this data completely shatters that misconception. Employers all across the US and Europe are writing AI into the job titles for a massive, wide-ranging variety of roles. We're talking marketing, HR, operations, sales, you name it. AI is no longer just this isolated tech sector story. It is a genuine cross-industry phenomenon. It's basically becoming a baseline competency across the entire board.
And here's a really crucial piece of the puzzle. AI isn't just creating digital jobs. It is driving massive demand for physical labor. The Indeed Hiring Lab actually flagged a huge boom in data center buildouts. Because think about it, to power all these incredible large language models, we need server farms. And to build those server farms, you need construction workers, installation techs, electrical engineers, HVAC specialists. The AI boom is literally out there creating blue-collar and heavy engineering jobs at a staggering rate. It's such a great reminder that the cloud, well, it actually lives in very loud, very heavy physical buildings.
Meanwhile, back over in the digital world, software development postings are finally rebounding after a few years of decline. But, and this is a big but, that growth is being driven almost entirely by senior AI-fluent roles. Companies aren't really hiring generic coders at the massive volumes they used to. Instead, they are specifically hunting for experienced developers who know exactly how to build with and integrate AI technologies. Right now, AI fluency is the ultimate skill multiplier. Basically, upskilling yourself is hands down the best job security you can have. Which brings us to Section 3, the new recruiting toolkit and the actual tech we use to hire. There's a real irony here, which is that the people doing the hiring, the recruiters themselves, they are using the exact same AI infrastructure to adapt to the market. The tech they're hiring for is literally the tech they're using to hire. Think about the old way of recruiting. It relied heavily on simple keyword searches. A recruiter types in, say, Python and project management, and the system just spits out resumes with those exact words. It's super rigid. But the new way? As the LinkedIn engineering team detailed, we have officially entered the era of semantic search. They've built these incredibly scalable LLM-based stacks and retrieval tools for AI agents like LinkedIn's hiring assistant. This means the system actually understands the context of what a candidate has done. It matches underlying capabilities to the job requirements, even if the exact keywords don't perfectly line up. It's an absolute game changer for matchmaking. And because the AI is now handling all that heavy lifting of sourcing and matching, the core role of the recruiter is totally transforming.
Adam Hawkins, the head of search and staffing at LinkedIn, pointed out this absolutely critical shift. We are moving away from the recruiter acting as just a transactional screener and shifting toward the recruiter as a strategic consultant. When AI does the initial screening, the human recruiter's value pivots to relationship building, advising hiring managers, and truly understanding the deep, nuanced needs of the business. The future of recruiting absolutely belongs to those who think like consultants.
That perfectly sets up Section 4, Skills over Degrees, focusing on the human element.
This brings us to a really powerful new strategy that companies are leaning into, especially since job descriptions are changing way faster than any university curriculum can keep up with. Tear down the paper ceiling. That was the rallying cry from Corinne Kimbrough and Michelle Hillman at Cannes Lions. If you haven't heard the term, the paper ceiling refers to those outdated, frankly, arbitrary college degree requirements that automatically filter out perfectly capable candidates. I mean, in an era where you can entirely self-teach yourself AI fluency, relying on a 4-year diploma as your only proxy for talent, it's not just outdated, it's actively harming your business by massively shrinking your talent pool. And this is exactly where we get the concept of skills-first hiring. It's a simple definition, really. It means focusing on a candidate's actual potential, their proven capabilities, and what they can literally do, rather than obsessing over their traditional pedigree or where they went to school. When you combine this forward-thinking philosophy with that semantic search AI we just talked about, boom, you suddenly unlock this massive universe of untapped, diverse talent. It heavily boosts inclusion, and honestly, it just gets the right people into the right seats so much faster.
Finally, Section 5, Adapting to the Future. Let's look at some actionable strategies. Okay, so we understand the market, we get the technology, and we know the philosophy. Now, how do we actually put all this into practice? Let's take Visa as a prime example here. They have put AI squarely at the center of their talent strategy, and the way they do it is brilliant. First, they lean hard into peer-to-peer learning. They aren't just forcing boring top-down training modules. They're actually empowering employees to teach each other. Next, they focus on role-specific AI upskilling. They completely understand that how a marketer uses AI looks vastly different than how an accountant uses it. And finally, they actively build a culture of experimentation. They are giving their talent the safety and, honestly, the mandate to go out, try new AI tools, fail safely, and learn quickly.
Over at Teradata, their approach relies heavily on employees taking true ownership of their own learning. They've practically proven that you can't just buy a fancy AI software license and expect miracles overnight. You have to build a true growth culture. The company prioritizes and funds career development, and that incredibly supportive environment is exactly what ends up powering their AI innovation. The takeaway here? If you want your company to be smart with AI, you absolutely have to empower the humans who are using it.
And that brings us to a question I want to leave you with today. Will your company adapt to the skills-first, AI-driven future, or are you going to be left holding on to the paper ceiling? Because the data is crystal clear right now. The labor market is shifting, AI is spreading like wildfire across every single industry, and the tools we use to find talent have fundamentally evolved. Embracing potential over pedigree, it isn't just a nice-to-have HR initiative anymore. It is the ultimate competitive advantage. I really hope this explainer gave you a fantastic framework for understanding where the future of hiring is heading. Thanks so much for